It's leg day. Oh boy. If there's one thing I could change about my past in terms of exercise, it's definitely the way I went about training my legs. There's a bunch of things I wish I knew 25, 30 years ago that I know now, which would definitely help me have made my legs bigger, stronger, and more importantly, healthier knees and a healthier back. Because it doesn't matter how big or strong your muscles are, if your tendons and your joints aren't up to scratch, they're going to be a huge limiting factor. Not just for exercise, but even day-to-day tasks, just walking around, walking up the stairs, trying to get up off the floor. So hopefully in this video I can help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made and give you some extra tips on how to build your legs up so that you can easily get up off the floor. The first thing to avoid really is just going into your sets without warming up. This is something I used to do when I was younger on all exercises. It's probably my biggest regret. You've really got to get your joints and your tendons warmed up. So with your quads, I'd recommend doing a bit of a knee wobble here, or kneecap wobble. You just want to move your kneecaps side to side a little bit. This helps lubricate your knees. When you get older, the synovial fluid in your joints thickens, so you feel a little bit stiffer. So doing this will help with mobilising your knees. It might make you feel a little bit queasy, the idea of it, but it's not that bad, honestly. Give it a go. Then after that, to start your warm-up exercises, the older you are, the colder the environment, the longer you'll probably want to warm up. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, as long as you're warming up the muscle that you're going to be training, so obviously doing quads here. So you can just do jogging on the spot, so mountain climbers, leg swings. It doesn't really matter too much, just do the stuff you like doing. All you're trying to do is increase your core temperature and preparing your muscles and your joints for your workout. And on your warm-up, you don't want to be sweating and out of breath. Okay, it's got to be on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being nothing, 10 being maximum, 2 or 3. Okay, you're just warming up. It's not a workout just yet. And if like me, you have stiff legs most of the time through standing up all day at work, or a lot of walking, maybe do a little bit of stretching before your exercises, not too much. Okay, if you're going to do static stretching, 10 to 20 seconds. If you're doing dynamic stretching, which is probably better before a workout, to be honest, 10 to 20 reps for each muscle. So we're all warmed up, onto the first exercise, squats. Squats are easily one of the best exercises you can do overall, not just because it works all of your legs. Primarily it's your quads, it'll work your glutes, hamstrings, calves, your back isometrically. Works good for your core muscles as well, good for balance, stability. It's pretty much an all-rounder. Technique is really important when you do squats or deadlifts, anything like that, because it puts a lot of pressure on your back, particularly your lower back and your knees, which obviously get weaker as you get older. Okay, so just a standard barbell squat. If you have access to a rack, I recommend you use the safety bars. If you don't have any safety bars, you can still do it, but just don't push yourself too much. Maybe add in an extra set rather than going, almost to failure. Leave a couple of reps in the tank, do an extra set to compensate for the lack of reps. Okay, posture first, feet hip width apart. You want to keep your core nice and tight, don't lock your knees. You want to try and bring your hands in pretty close as well if you can. This is going to be determined by your shoulder mobility, so if you can only do a wide grip, don't worry, it's fine, but a closer grip will give you a slightly tighter back. Okay, and as far as how far down to have the bar, just do what's comfortable. Having it further down will bring your glutes and your hamstrings into it a little bit more. Now, something you want to avoid if you've got a bulging disc or a herniated disc is something called butt wink. If you don't know what butt wink is, it's when your pelvis kind of like tucks under, so it's like a posterior tilt as you're squatting down. Basically, your lower back starts to round at the bottom of the lift, and what this does is basically opens up your back a bit more, so it's going to force your disc out a bit more. Yeah, I've had this a few times, so definitely try and avoid that. Don't force yourself to go really deep into a squat just because that's the ideal thing to do. Okay, you just got to go with what you can do. If you don't have any lower back problems and you've got good flexibility and you can go all the way down, just go for it, it's fine. But if you do have mobility issues, a herniated disc, something like that, then avoid that butt wink. It's caused by a lack of mobility in your calves, your glutes, hamstrings mainly. You can obviously work on these to improve your flexibility by incorporating some stretching. Just make sure when you stretch, you warm up your muscles first, don't do it when they're cold. Now, if you want to get a wider stance, that's absolutely fine as well. This will actually take a little bit of pressure off your lower back. It will put a bit more pressure on your hips. But again, this is just a preference thing. If you don't have problems with your hips, go for it. I do this sometimes, depending how bad my back is on that day. Make sure you keep your back nice and straight on this exercise. You want to keep your back in the same position. So the bar path straight up and straight down. Hopefully you can see that on this demonstration here. And you want to try and aim for a sitting motion. Okay, if you've never done these before, it's going to feel a bit weird, but you basically want to feel like you're about to sit down on a chair. So what you're doing is you're actually taking your hips back, and then you drive your hips forward as you raise yourself up. If you concentrate on your knees when you're doing this exercise, you're more than likely just going to drop yourself down. Your knees are going to push forward. This is bad technique. I see this quite a lot, you know, especially people I've trained myself. First time they've never done any squats before. This is something that people do. Try and avoid that. Just concentrate on pushing your hips back and then pushing your hips forward. Your knees will take care of themselves. And then try and align your knees with your feet. You don't need them pointing straight forward, but if you have them sticking out a little bit, just make sure your knees are pretty much going in the same direction. Now, when I warm up, I'll start off with just a bar. I'll do 20 reps. Then I'll add some weight, do 15 reps, and then add some more weight. Just basically just keep halving the reps. I'll do 8 reps and then 4. I normally do about 4 warm-up sets. Then once I've warmed up, normally I'll put my knee wraps on. If you've got sore knees and you've got knee wraps, yeah, definitely put those on. Now, if you're going to go for the higher reps, you know, 15, 20 reps, and you've never done these before and you're going to push yourself close to failure, well, you're in for a treat. Now, something you can do in between your sets is use a roller, a foam roller, for example, and just roll those muscles out. It's going to help with your blood flow, okay, so circulation of your oxygen, nutrients. It's going to help release some tension in your muscles as well. It's got a similar effect to stretching, but by doing this, you can actually find some real tender spots and just roll them out, or get a massage gun, do the same thing. Yeah, these things are really good, and they come with all kinds of attachments for all kinds of things. Okay then, if you can't do squats, you can do sumo squats with a dumbbell. Again, they'll work your quads primarily, also work your glutes and hamstrings, etc. But with a wider stance, you'll be bringing your adductors into it a little bit more, so like your inner thighs. So either hold a dumbbell between your legs like this, or hold it under your chin and just use it as a nice chin rest after a hard day's work. Same motion as a squat, remember, like you're going to sit down, it's just all in the hips. Yeah, just squat down, drive your hips forward, get back up, nice controlled reps. And another exercise you can do are lunges, which I'm sure you've seen before. I prefer doing reverse lunges where you step back rather than stepping forward. Puts less pressure on your knees. And these are pretty good for your balance as well. You know, you're working one leg at a time rather than both legs together, and it takes a bit of practice trying to maintain your balance, but they are pretty good. Try and get your knees around 90 degrees as a starting point. As you get better, you can decrease the angle on your front knee and increase the angle on your rear knee. Get a bit more of a stretch on your quads. Okay, and same thing, you can hold the dumbbell under your chin, or you can have a dumbbell in each hand, or you can have a dumbbell in one hand and support yourself on something stable with the other hand. This will make it a bit easier because you don't have to balance yourself too much. And if you're going to do this variation, just do all your reps on one leg first and then swap over. Okay, last exercise, leg extensions, of course. Why not? A lot of people don't rate this exercise. It's an isolation exercise, so it's only working one muscle at a time, or one muscle group, so that's your quads. So you wouldn't do this exercise for an overall leg development on its own, like a squat or a deadlift, for example. However, you can really push yourself on these. You can go to failure quite easily. And because it's an isolation exercise, you can superset these with an isolation exercise for your hamstrings and glutes. Okay, so like a single leg deadlift or a hip extension. By doing that, you're working your entire leg, just like you would if you're doing a squat or a deadlift or a leg press, something like that. And I found for myself, these are pretty good if you're having a bad back day or a bad leg day or a bad knee day or both. And they can also be pretty good for knee rehabilitation as well. So I wouldn't poo-poo this exercise, it has its place. Now this is not a high weight, low rep exercise. You want to keep your reps quite high in this. So 15, 20, 25 reps, okay, that's all fine. Yeah, so just extend your knee as far as you can and then slowly lower the weight, nice and controlled. And yeah, I'm probably doing these a little bit too quick here. Maybe my dinner was ready or something. Maybe I should use a bit of slow motion in the edit. But yeah, just bang the reps out of this. It's nice and easy. 3 or 4 sets, like I say, between 50 and 25 reps. Now, don't do all of these exercises in one session. Stick to a couple of exercises. Do 3 or 4 sets on both exercises and do that once or twice a week. Please make sure you stretch afterwards. Okay, you want to do 30 seconds per muscle static stretching to maintain your flexibility. If you want to try and increase it, you'll have to go up to like 60 seconds. The more flexible you are, the less likely you're going to injure yourself. You become less flexible as you get older, so you're more prone to injury. Just because you're 50, 60, 70, doesn't mean you're done. Keep training, keep trying to improve on something. Just be smart about it. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.